Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Ron B, Manuel, and Thomas C. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. As it turns out, this document right here is the reason why last night we lost up to 37 miles of advertised range on certain Tesla models. This document from the EPA says the new policy is applicable to new testing for 2024 model year and later vehicles. It may be applied to new testing for 2023 model year vehicles. This document will be below if you really want to nerd out, but all you really need to know, going forward, the EPA is going to make these automakers do testing considering all of the different drive mode options. If a single default drive mode does not exist, the manufacturer must test for range in MPGe in one of two methods. 1. Determine the best and worst case latching modes for range and miles per gallon equivalent. Test in both modes and average the results. Or 2, determine the worst case latching mode for range and miles per gallon equivalent and test in that mode only. The term latching here just refers to different drive modes actually staying the same through turning the vehicle on and off. For example, in some vehicles you can select sport mode, but then when you turn the car off and turn it back on, it will not default to that sport mode setting, so that would not technically be a latch mode. The main push of these new testing methods is, as you may have guessed, to reflect better the actual real-world range that some customers are reporting in their electric vehicles. When I saw the news last night without knowing why as a potential Model Y buyer this year, my first thought was, don't like that. But the good news, as far as we know, this is not Tesla removing some batteries from the car or changing anything with the physical vehicle itself. It really just has to do with how the EPA is handling these testing procedures. So nothing at all should be changing with the actual real world range. It's really just the advertised range that we're going to see on Tesla's website. I really don't think it's interesting enough to walk through an actual example of how these figures are calculated, but I will once again put this article below going through how you can actually do the calculations. You really just take the vehicle's dynamometer results or the dyno results and then put that figure through a formula. When you have the results for both city and highway driving, you effectively blend those figures, 55% weighted for city driving, 45% for highway driving. In case you are interested in the calculations for the Model Y, here was a helpful chart from Troy Teslike going through some of that math. Here is a pretty helpful chart covering all of the changes. One thing to note, the Model S long range with 21-inch wheels actually saw a range boost of 7 miles. All other vehicles though either stayed the same or saw a decrease. As I mentioned, the biggest decrease was that 37-mile loss in advertised range for the Model S Plaid on 19-inch wheels. All variants of the Model Y rear-wheel drive are left unchanged. The long range on 19-inch wheels went from 330 miles down to 310, and on the 20-inch wheels it went from 318 miles down to 292. The performance Model Y went from 303 down to 285. At least for now, we have no changes for the Model 3. My guess would be it has something to do with the Highland release sometime in Q1. Yes, of course, these new ranges are a bit less attractive that will be listed on the Tesla website, but remember, all other automakers selling EVs in 2024 are going to have to comply with these new standards, so relatively everything should settle out roughly where it was before. And one last time for clarity, this is only the advertised range. As far as we know, nothing at all is changing with any of these Tesla vehicles. With that said though, we do have some actual changes to Tesla's lineup. The Model 3 and Y now get the Stealth Gray, which is now the included color, and the Ultra Red for $2,000, which previously was just for the S and X. This replaces the Cherry Red, and the Stealth Gray replaces the Midnight Silver Metallic. Joe Tetmeyer did post a photo this morning at Giga Texas showing 3 Model Ys in that Quicksilver Gray, the one that we've only seen so far in Giga Berlin. What are they doing in Austin is anybody's guess. I'm personally not holding my breath to see this as an option, but at least something to note. Also of note, from Green to Only, sometime this year we may actually be getting a real physical change to the battery pack or the powertrain for the Model Y, S, and X. Green said specifically we have efficiency packages coming this year for those vehicles, and then the S and X get a new steering wheel and yokes with a mechanical horn. In the past, these efficiency packages have been a physical change to the vehicle that positively impacts the range. So for now, the advertised range is down, but throughout the course of this year, the actual real-world range and the advertised may go back up. Again, Model 3 left out, most likely because it's in the transition phase to the Model 3 Plus or the Highland. According to Teslascope, who usually has pretty solid data, they did say the efficiency package is unrelated to those EPA changes, and it does improve range compared to the prior revision. They also said this efficiency package should find its way into 2024 VINs soon. Something to keep an eye on, nothing to make any final judgments about, but Colton from Out of Spec shared this picture inside of the Cybertruck vault with some moisture inside of it. He said it was from a leak due to light rain. I do want to say, so far where I've seen the Out of Spec team with the Cybertruck, it's been in very cold climates, so there's a chance some of this is condensation and not actually leaking through the tonneau. But from everything I've read, Rivian's tonneau is not waterproof, and I'm not sure Tesla ever promised this one was going to be waterproof either, so again, just something to keep in mind and to keep an eye on. In Kyle's testing, when he was charging the Cybertruck, he said that the outlets were not working during that time. He asked Drew Baglino about it, and Drew said, yes, a future firmware update will enable 2.4 to 4.8 kilowatt outlet power while charging. The exact amount depends on load balance, 120 versus 240 volt loads, etc. Between Kyle's testing and Kim Java's testing, right now I can't really confirm if these outlets don't work when the Cybertruck is being charged or when the Cybertruck is actually being used to charge another vehicle. That's because in Kyle's thread where he asked this question and posed the problem, they were actually using the Cybertruck to charge a Model X. That's when they said the outlets are not possible to use during that situation. On X, Gary Mark shared a short video of a line outside of the Tesla store, people waiting to see the Cybertruck on display, this time in Toronto at the Yorkdale Shopping Center. We also had artist, rapper, entertainer, designer, entrepreneur extraordinaire Pharrel take delivery of his Cybertruck. Hopefully he'll continue to post about it to his tens of millions of followers across social media. Checking in on Tesla in Europe from Roland, Tesla grew 57% in Europe with 364,000 deliveries for the year. The only reason that Q4 2024 was not a new record quarter for Tesla in Europe was because yet again a ship had to be redirected due to some security issues in the Suez Canal. Either way though, you can see for the last 5 quarters or so, Tesla's growth in Europe has been mostly flat, and yes, there were things going on like the Model 3 switching over to the Model 3 Plus. And don't forget, there are macro challenges going on globally. It's most certainly not just the United States. They're taking place in Europe too. The magenta bars are for 2023. So yes, Germany's growth has been declining, but France has seen a huge spike in Tesla deliveries. So France has now vaulted into the second biggest market for Tesla in Europe, right behind Germany. Rounding out the top 5, the UK, Norway, and Denmark. Before we move on from Europe, looking at January to November of 2023, the top selling EVs in Europe, the Model Y far and away in first, 230,000, followed in second by the Model 3 at 88.1 thousand. In 3 through 5, we have the VW ID4, the Skoda Enyaq, and the Volvo XC40. I would love for everybody here to become generationally wealthy via Tesla stock. But more importantly, I would like to see everybody here fit, strong, and healthy enough to enjoy it. So here's a quick muscle building secret. Focus more on the eccentric part of the movement. 3 seconds or more for whatever movement you're doing. Control it and feel the burn on the way down. This tip of the week was brought to you by the sponsor of today's video, AG1. Funny enough, the first time I found AG1 was from this very video, Lex Friedman, A Day in the Life. At the time, I was looking for something to help with focus and energy without always having to rely on caffeine. It's true, AG1 has adaptogens and minerals that can help with exactly that, but I do also know that we're all wired differently, so my advice would be just to try it out for a few months so you can find out for yourself. AG1 is sourced from whole food ingredients, which helps with bioavailability, meaning what you drink is actually used and not just passed through your body. Huberman and Peter Attia are on the AG1 team. Every serving has over 75 vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, and I personally think it tastes pretty good in just water. It's the new year, a great time to invest in yourself and build new habits. You can get 5 travel packs and a 1-year supply of vitamin D3 K2 for free using my link below. Enjoy. If you guys caught my video yesterday in the outro, you may recall I was saying how I'm expecting some exciting things for 2024 when it comes to third-party developers integrating with Tesla's API for third-party apps. What I didn't know was that that excitement was going to start just moments later. Samsung has established a partnership with Tesla that they're going to showcase at CES this year. Their SmartThings Energy will now directly connect with Tesla products like the Powerwall, solar inverter, wall connector, and EVs. Tesla Energy customers can now manage and monitor the power status of their homes through SmartThings Energy and Samsung devices in addition to the Tesla app. This move will allow SmartThings Energy to display information relating to users' energy production, storage, and usage. Consumers will be better able to prepare for disruptions. They'll have the ability to sync with the Tesla app's Powerwall Storm Watch function. That means in the case of extreme weather, customers can actually be alerted through SmartThings on their connected TVs and mobile phones in addition to the Tesla app. I know things like this aren't going to have outsized impacts on Tesla's financials, but what these moves are really about is long-term customer satisfaction. Plus, smart home integrations with Tesla products will just make the customers that much stickier over time. It's exciting because this is really just the beginning of all of these third parties partnering with or using Tesla's API to actually bring more utility to Tesla's products than they already have. The chatter is that the strike and sympathy strikes in Sweden could end if Tesla follows Amazon's lead and hires a contractor. What Amazon did was hire a logistics contractor in Sweden that already had a collective agreement with the Transport Workers Union. Effectively, the contractor then operates Amazon's warehouse in Sweden, integrating a third party between the company and the union. It's not really clear exactly what this could look like for Tesla, so rather than speculate, we'll just wait to see if this develops at all. But you have to remember it's going to be tough either way because there's a significant portion of Tesla mechanics that don't actually want a collective agreement. You know how in the past with the Model 3 and Y you've had 3 stopping modes to choose from? Hold, roll, and creep? Well, Tesla is taking away 2 of those, leaving hold as the only option going forward. At least for now, this will only impact United States customers. Drive Tesla Canada saw some internal documents. Apparently, the reasoning was to help display a more accurate, efficient range estimate. This will apply to all Model 3 and Y vehicles built after January 1st, 2024. So I guess we can't say it's always better to wait to buy a Tesla. Tesla did say the 2 stopping modes that have been removed for new vehicles will not be removed by an OTA update for the older models. And the S and X don't even have that option to begin with. Based on scouring the forums, it seems like most people use the hold option, but there are definitely some who use the creep option. I'd honestly love to know what setting you have been using. Tesla will be sending out an OTA update for about 1.6 million vehicles in China, covering the S3, X, and Y. Effectively for all cars made in the last 9 years in Shanghai, as well as for those that were imported. The changes to the auto steering feature will allow the vehicles to send additional alerts to the driver and add more control when the steering feature is switched on to prevent misuse. They mentioned a separate recall in China for about 7,500 Model S, Y, and 3 vehicles for a separate issue regarding door locks. No word on if that's OTA or not. But in case you see this headline, it's really just an OTA update allowing for more driving driver monitoring when it comes to autopilot. VW has delayed their roughly $25,000 EV to 2026. They're saying an official reveal will take place in the fall of 2025. When they revealed this ID2 All last year, it was a concept vehicle, so we'll see if this actually enters production. VinFast is now touting an electric pickup and a microcar, but they're saying both will also make it to production, saying the microcar could sell for under $20,000. Not to burst anybody's bubble here, but if Tesla has to work as hard as it does to sell a $25,000 EV profitably, then color me skeptical that VinFast and VW will be able to sell cars anywhere in that neighborhood at a profit. Last year, Audi sold 25,000 EVs in the United States, making for its best year ever when it comes to electric vehicles. Their American president said that this year, most of their vehicle sales will still have a combustion engine. They did say, though, they're launching the Q6 e-tron EV by the end of 2024, the first Audi model on VW's PPE platform. Today, the IRS just issued an extension for some of these car dealers to get things sorted out when it comes to the tax credit. Car dealers now have until January 19th to submit reports about eligible sales that take place between the 1st and the 16th. This to give dealers more time to adjust to the new system of reporting sales directly to the IRS. I've already heard other rumors that the rebate portal is already broken in the first few days, so my guess is this whole thing is not going to be sorted out until we get deeper into Q1, most likely into February. Xpeng execs are now saying their new X9 is going to be a game changer. They just launched this vehicle on the 1st of the year and it starts around $50,000. Bear in mind, this is the same company that said they're going to start selling flying vehicles. They said the X9 will be a very high margin product for us, which is exactly what the customers want to hear. Last year, Xpeng sold 141.6 thousand units, Neo did 160,000, and Li Auto did 376,000. The EPA is going to hold a hearing next week over whether to approve California's plan to require all new car sales to be ZEV by 2035. The hearing will be January 10th, and then they'll take written comments through February 27th. Now, Lucid has been accused of illegally firing 2 employees because they joined and supported the UAW. This allegation coming from the US Labor Board. In a new filing, they accused Lucid of threatening, transferring, and retaliating against employees, and confiscating union literature and creating the impression that workers' activities were under surveillance. Argus put out a Cogent Tesla stock note, and they said, "We expect Tesla's sales margins and earnings per share to re-accelerate in 2024 thanks to lowering interest rates and a better supply chain. Additionally, we believe AI is an undervalued component of the future growth at Tesla and expect its value to be recognized soon on Wall Street as FSD, battery cell production, and AI-enabled robots become a bigger part of the future at Tesla. With the competition struggling to right-size their future CapEx budgets, we believe Tesla has an opportunity to grow market share in 2024. 1-year price target, $316. Definitely nothing we don't already know, but maybe Wall Street waking up a bit. Don't forget, check out AG1 linked below, grab those freebies. Hope you guys have a wonderful and a safe weekend. You can find me on X linked below. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.